Welcome, guys. My name is Yanis. I have recently rebranded as Dr. Yanis because everybody finds it impossible to say my name in its kind of passport version. So we're going with this. And I am working for a while now on what people would call innovative AI projects. And these are things that, sometimes work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes people like, sometimes people take particular objection to, but this is the latest iteration of these projects. So I thought I will launch an online AI digital persona. So I looked around the web and I asked the various chatbots, are there any other law student digital artificial influencers out there? And strangely enough, there aren't any. So even though I'm going to take you through some examples later of other types of influencers, but there don't seem to be any AI-generated student influencers. So I thought, oops, here is my opportunity. If there isn't one there already, I am going to make one. So I have changed the slide. So hopefully you can see that now. If you scan the QR code, it's going to take you to the link tree that's got ALSI's various websites. So ALSI, which in a kind of dystopian way stands for Artificial Law Student Influencer. Yes, I tried. Give me a round of applause if you like the name. I tried really, really hard to come up with something that works here. So ALSI is my experiment in creating a digital persona. And I'm going to explain in the time that we've got together why I did this, what I'm trying to achieve, and then you're going to give me, we're going to have the opportunity for you guys to give me your views as to what you think about this all. So let me see. So trying to change the screen here. Okay, what is this all about? I have been struggling with the following problem. I cannot get through to my students. And I am teaching at undergraduate and postgraduate level across a variety of programs. So I've got students that I see on a weekly basis on a campus inside a seminar room. I've got students that I see online in online tutorials, and I've got certain students for whom I create material, but I never see because they're on distance learning non-supportive programs. In addition to this, I see a great deal of candidates for the solicitor's qualification exam, and I see these people on social media, on YouTube, and so on. But I have a persistent problem across these various interactions. I don't seem to get through to the students or the candidates and pass on the information that I need in a way that we have some meaningful interaction, that they manage to pay attention to what it is that I'm trying to tell them, and then they manage to utilize and operationalize the knowledge that I'm trying to pass. So I've been reflecting on this problem for years, okay? And it's not only me, a lot of people across the sector have had difficulties with the same problem. So I thought that perhaps one of the problems is that we don't occupy the same domains. And of course, in a physical domain, we're both in campus together and we're all in the same classroom if they turn up, which is not a problem. But if we're thinking about digital domains and we're thinking about online learning, we are not in the same spaces. We don't occupy the same social media as the students. We don't occupy the same digital spaces. When we set up virtual learning environments, the students are not necessarily willing to be on those. They prefer to be on something else. And we have this very significant sort of jurisdictional domain disconnect. The teachers are on certain spaces that the students are not. And the teachers have got difficulty both figuring out where the students are, and if we do figure out where they are, we have difficulty actually getting to them. So this is problem number one. Problem number two is that the students don't want to get the information from us. And I know this sounds really strange, right? Because they're paying for programs that are quite expensive. And if you're thinking about international students who are taking postgraduate degrees, then, they're spending even more money on this. So how come they spend so much money and they make such a significant commitment, yet they don't want to get the information from us? How do I know that this is happening? They spend so much time talking to each other in the corridors. How many times have you been approached by a student who says, XYZ told me when I met them that this is what the assessment's going to be like? And you're like, why are you getting information from random people in the corridor, or people that you met in the lift, instead of asking me? I'm here every week, or read the information that I put on the VLE. Everything's out there for you. Why are you guys randomly discussing with each other? So they do this, however. They don't want to get the information from us. They don't want to go to the spaces that we inhabit. They ask each other. They ask each other on social media. Find some of the students, if any of the students that you have are particularly active on the socials, like on Instagram or TikTok or something, go and check the stuff that they post. It's going to blow your mind. You're having discussions under these posts where other students are asking them stuff about the program that they're studying, instead of actually going to the university or asking their tutors. So they prefer to be asking each other to get this information rather than us giving them the info. So two problems. One is domain. We're in different spaces. Secondly, they prefer to get their information from peers as opposed to the teaching staff for a great deal of important things. So how can we break through these barriers and traverse these domains and find a fix to this problem? Now, you're probably all familiar with the idea of influencers. Personalities that are real people that become influential on social media in one way or the other, and they become focal points for attention. The people that you see on the screen here are some examples of people that I'm familiar with. Chrissy Wolf is a lady who became very prominent in the legal field for young lawyers who are trying to qualify, or people who have just managed to qualify and they're starting their career. The other two people that we've got here are quite prominent as law students and recent graduates that offer advice to peers, as well as lifestyle content from themselves. These people have attracted huge followings. And a lot of students and recent graduates, they go to them for advice, and they look to them for inspiration as to what they can do, both in succeeding in their degrees and in progressing with their careers after they've finished. Now, so this is something that exists. The idea of an influencer has been around for a long time. It's actually a kind of, people think it's silly, but I think it's a legit career aspiration for a lot of kids these days. Now, let's take this a step further. What about these people here? I don't know. It depends. If you've got teenage kids, maybe you've come across these characters, or if you spend a lot of time on social media, maybe you have. All of these people are fake. They're not real. So the first two, Lil Miquela and Aitana Lopez, they're characters that have been generated and they're present on social media. They've been there for a while. They've got huge followings. They actually make quite a great deal of money for their creators, but they're fully generated artificial personas. Tilly Norwood is a more recent example. You may have seen the sort of press controversy about this. She's a creation. She's a digitally generated character that is being pushed out as a digital actor. Somebody who is coming from a talent agency and a creator here in London that can operate as a character alongside either other real actors or other animations, and then participate in creating films and all of that stuff. Now, we've got the phenomenon of the real influencers, and we've got the phenomenon of the artificial influencers that are attaining an audience, they're attaining commercial importance, they're becoming an ever more significant marketing tool. Therefore, my idea, how can I leverage this technology and these ideas in order to create an artificial persona that can meet my students where they're at? So a persona that can operate on social media, can be on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts, on Instagram Reels, on Reddit, on Discord, on all of these things that the students are at, and communicate with them in the domains that they already inhabit. And secondly, it's a character that looks and sounds and behaves like them. So Alcy is constructed with a backstory that says she's a London-based final year law student, and she's a sort of Gen Z student. So she sounds like a Gen Z London student. She looks roughly what the majority of them look like, and she behaves and has a backstory and has activities and aspirations that are consistent with this demographic. Therefore, she operates as a peer within this environment. And from that point onwards, we have, or at least I'm aspiring to have, the ability to break into the spaces that the students are at, both in terms of domain and in terms of who is the character that conveys the information. Then the information behind it is all the stuff that I want to give them. So Alcy has been posting for the last few months. She started posting in the middle of August this year, and she's got study tips, advice on students, how to get started at uni, anything from, how to outfit your room to make yourself feel comfortable, how to deal with the anxiety of studies, kind of generic kind of mental health support, how to cope with university, how to make module selections, and alongside that, some more substantive information. How do you get the information that you need? How do you approach the teachers? How do you participate? How do you write an essay? How do you become a successful student? How do you approach your assessments? All of these things. Interspersed with this, some more lifestyle content, here visiting and doing stuff, a few music videos as well, various things that I'm testing to see what is going to attract the attention of the audience. So this is the vehicle. It is notified everywhere that this is an artificially generated persona. So Alcy does not pretend to be a real person. It is notified everywhere, both for legal reasons and for transparency and for ethical reasons, that this is a digitally created persona. I was not personally associated with her up until recently, so this ran for the first few months completely independently without any link to my social media interaction, because I wanted to get sort of clean analytics on how the product is performing by itself. It's only recently that I revealed that I'm the creator at the back of Alcy. The other personas that we've seen that I showed you earlier, the other influencers, they're also clearly notified as artificial. It does not stop them from attaining huge audiences. So this is also part of the experiment here. Is this going to work if we're trying to reach student audiences as a peer in the domains that they inhabit, if the peer persona is artificial? So my research hypothesis is that it doesn't matter if it's artificial, because a lot of artificially generated influencers are doing very, very well already. So the idea is that the message is what matters, and the packaging is what allows the audience to sort of swallow that message and not be resistant at the beginning. Because this is not new content. These are all this material is stuff that I've shared myself on my social media channels, and I've been doing this for years. But for certain types of content, I was unable to find an audience. And my assumption is that they just don't want to hear it from a middle-aged Greek dude. They want to hear this stuff from somebody who, even though pretending, is going through an experience that they can relate to. So they don't want advice from the teacher. They want advice from somebody else who is in a position of a student. Now, has this been successful or not? I mean, it depends what you consider success. These are statistics from a few weeks ago. Alcy has been posted, as I said, on YouTube Shorts, on Instagram Reels, and on TikTok. This isn't bad. I mean, it doesn't look very impressive if you look other influencers that have got sort of millions of views and a marketing team behind them. But for something that launched out of nowhere and is making its way through the socials simply by posting with no promotion or marketing behind it, it's growing to at the level that I would expect it to grow. I mean, if we've got any people who do social media seriously in the audience, you probably know how difficult it is to kind of attract an audience and maintain that audience for a while. So I think the potential is there. What I'm trying to do at the moment is to figure out what sort of content actually attracts the attention of the audience. Do they want more kind of light-hearted, lifestyle content that has to do with supporting students in the totality of their experience, or do they want more targeted content? For instance, should Alsi be telling them how to find the best deal at IKEA to put something nice on the wall of their bedroom? Or should she be telling them how to understand, the doctrine of consideration in contract law? So I'm running kind of various videos in various different iterations to see what the audience might prefer here. And once I find something that sticks, then I will develop that further. Now, so one of the questions that potentially you have is, could you make one of your own? Well, yes, because the tools that I use to make this are commercially available tools that surely you can utilize and make them your own. You could choose to create a persona or make an influencer exactly at the spec that you want them. You probably won't be able to do it within your institutional capacity, because if there's one thing that the university is great at, is freaking out every time somebody tries to do something with AI. So if you try to do this within an institutional setting, either they're going to freak out and try and shut you down, or they're just going to ask you to get the approval of some obscure tech committee, and in 10 years time you're still going to be waiting for a response. So you could make one. You could make one personally if you don't associate it with the institution that you work for. The thing to consider is, why would you want to make one? And what do you seek to get out of this? Do you want to create a persona that operates as a sort of customer service bot for your students, or as a student support agent, or perhaps an avatar that is a clone of yourself that can extend the messaging to different groups? I'm happy to discuss this with you and then to get into some more details about the tools that one could employ. It is not very easy, admittedly, because achieving character consistency across generations is still a very significant problem for AI. So I've tried long and hard to get Alsi to sound consistent and to look consistent across generations. I've succeeded to a degree, but it's still work in progress. Right, so this is pretty much what I wanted to say to introduce the character to you guys, but I'm really looking forward to having a discussion with you to hear what you think about this as a project, or as a kind of provocation in a way, and whether you think something like this might be helpful or not in helping us reach our student audiences.